everyone, it's Mish here, and thank you for joining me today. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. We are going to be doing some work in the Daphne's Diary Gluebook journal, and if you're new to this playlist, we've done quite a few pages of just taking different images and papers from Daphne's Diary and just creating a little bit of a glue book. I don't know, I kind of call it an idea book, which is just full of just some really cool pages. I do like to go back and have a look at the pages from time to time, so it just makes me happy. And I do like going back to previous issues. Some of the issues, I'm fortunate that I do have a couple copies of, and number 3, 2023 is one of those. And it was a project that I've been thinking about for quite a while, but just other projects kind of came in, as a more burning desire. But this has kind of been on the burner for a bit, and I want to take this little, little table, and I want to use that, and then I've been wanting to use one of these teapots. So that's what we're going to play with today. Today's just going to be an easy day. My brain's a little bit muddled. I've worked something like 10 out of 11 days. Now, I did have yesterday off, but I just was cleaning house and whatnot. So I'm going to start with the table, and I've already just put some background paper, just some something I have from one of my paper pads, and I want to put that on. But I also want to use this teapot, I think, and I want to leave room at the top for what I want to do. So I think I'll put that on right about there. And for this, I'm just going to use a wee little bit of glue. It is glossy paper, so if you use too much of a water-based glue, it's going to warp the paper, and I don't want to do that. But I just basically want to get it down. This here is a micro nib, so the glue comes out in a fine line. So I just want to try to get that somewhat level with the bottom. Okay, and then we'll just cut that leg off. Okay, so we got that down. And then what I'm going to do initially is I went through the magazine and I cut out a bunch of these floral images, and I thought we would put those in the teapot. So I know that that's the bottom of my teapot. So I'm just going to take a pencil and I'm just going to mark kind of just inside the lid and over to here and a little bit here, because then I know, if I can see that, pardon my head, that, can't see that mark, that's kind of my guide for putting in my flowers. So I'll just do some flower arranging here. I know I kind of want this one in the background because it is quite yellowy. So I think I'll just lay that down like so. Just kind of put that right to the top. Okay. It's now the end of September. I had a few of these videos already scheduled. So I can't believe that we're into September, or getting into October already. The weather has changed here, so it is quite cool. I find here in Nova Scotia that summer just passed us by. Do you find that wherever you are, that we started with the end of May, I think, 1st of June, can't even remember the time frame now. We had terrible forest fires here, and then we went right into like weeks and weeks of rain. So I think in July we had a record-breaking 21 days of rain, and it just seemed like any sunny day I was working. So where we would typically get to the beach, we have lots of really nice beaches around here. Gosh, sometimes once or twice a week. We got to the beach once. So, okay, so I'm kind of liking how that's looking, and I just want that kind of as a background. Actually, I think I'd like to move this up a bit without wrecking the whole thing. I find sometimes before I do a video, I'll lay things out and think, oh yeah, I really like that. And then when it comes time for the video, I forget, and I do take a picture sometimes to help me remember. But then when you get working it, okay, so I think I like that a little better. Oh, perfect. Okay, so then what I've been doing is I went along and I've been cutting out all kinds of little craft supplies. So your brushes, a whisk, I don't know if you have that in your craft room, a little chisel. And I know when I first started out with crafting, and this was years ago, and of course you couldn't get today what you couldn't get then what you can today as far as containers and organizers and stuff. So I literally did have like an old teapot and coffee mugs that had broke or chipped. I'd bring them out to the craft room, and I had all kinds of brushes in them, and all kinds of bits and bobs. So it kind of resonate with me when I kind of thought about this teapot. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to fill up the teapot with bits and bobs. And sometimes if you want to add a little dimension, this is what I was just checking out, you can use the foam tape, okay? And there's all kinds of different foam tapes that you can get, little shapes and stuff. But if you want to make it like there's some dimension and it's lifting, then only put the foam tape sort of towards the top of your project. And then it makes it feel like there's an opening. So I was just putting the foam tape, and if I put that on, it almost looks like it's not on the shelf, which is, I mean, it's art. It doesn't really have to reflect real life. But I kind of like that better. So I just thought, well, let's go ahead and fill up our teapot with just craft stuff. And it doesn't really matter how it goes down. Just thought I'd really like to have this in my journal. I guess it takes me back to the early days. I guess when you start to get older, you think a little bit more about the early days. For sure. I don't know. I try not to dwell on, well, if I had done this or if I hadn't done that. But I don't know. Is that normal to think like that? I don't sit and dwell on it every day, but it does kind of pop into my head from time to time. If I hadn't have taken this route, or if I had done that route. I'm going to put this one so that it's kind of attached to the teapot, because then it'll also give dimension. So you've got your background, and then you have things that are popping out of the foreground. And then that creates dimension within your project. And that's, there's nothing wrong with just plain collage. And I find that in my glue book, I'm trying to do different types of things, but things that are all don't require a lot of multimedia. Although I've been using a lot of hardware, I've not been using a lot of kind of paints, and because that's hard to do in a collage book that's not a typical art journal with watercolor pages and what have you. I'm kind of liking how that's turning out. And yeah. So what's been going on in your guys' lives? I love all the comments, and I appreciate those that, you know, consistently are leaving me comments and encouraging me. It's nice for somebody who's just starting out, for sure. I will be announcing sometime next month in October a special giveaway. I haven't quite got it all organized in my head yet, but I will be announcing that at some point. Okay, well, I'm kind of happy with that. There's loads of stuff there. We've got our paint brushes, we've got our little chisel, our dusting brushes, we have your fan brush. So there's all sorts of stuff there. So now I'm gonna, I think before I put that on though, I wanted to take my little teapot, and I have this strand of flat back pearls, and I thought to just, actually, I gotta cut that handle out a little bit better. I forgot to cut out this little part of the handle. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna put that across the top of my little teapot. And to lay that down, I'm just gonna use a little bit of Fabri-Tac across the top here. I find that for plastic and well, this is good for doing a lot of junk journaling if you don't want your papers to warp. I do it a lot in my mini albums and junk journals because it's a silicone base, so it won't warp your papers. Oh, look at that. So we got some little beads, although I think I need to cut it off. It can't go onto the spout now, can it? So I'm gonna cut this out a little bit to make it more like a defined spout. And then I can take that, I think I'll cut off that last bead there. And I have to give my compliments to these scissors. I sometimes do card classes where, you know, I go into a home kind of like a craft party and then we do cards and stuff. So I needed some extra scissors. So I went to the dollar store and I bought these scissors. I think they're Studio, yeah. And they were like $1.25, I think. And they were the best little scissors that I've had in my craft room. Beats the Fiskar by a mile. Do you think that should go on the bottom too? I'm not sure. I also cut out this butterfly. So I want to put him on, of course. I think sometimes when you just add a little something like a butterfly or even like just a little dot of bling, it just somehow brings your page together. You guys are probably shouting, yeah, no. I think I will. It can't hurt, can it? All right, so we'll get that put down. I can't believe that we're getting into like Halloween season. For somebody that crafts consistently, I sometimes this time of year get all confused because I'm still a little bit in the summer girl era. And then I'm trying to craft sort of for Halloween. I did the other day, I had a meeting at the office and I made a bunch of these little little Halloween, not Halloween, but little fall gift boxes with some candy. And I put a, I went to, and just got a few little fall things, and I made some little tags and stuff. So I made those, and then now I'm working on like some Christmas cards. I like to do up a bunch of Christmas cards and donate them to my not nearest, but a long-term care facility. Because I find that if a resident doesn't have a family, then it's nice to get a card at Christmas time. And if they really have lack of funds, it's nice for the facility to be able to give them a couple cards that they can give out to their loved one. So I'm kind of trying to get into that mode. And Thanksgiving is coming up here soon. In Canada, we celebrate it. I think it's the first Monday in October. Or I know you guys in America do it on the 25th of November, is it? So you're trying to get my head around that. Oh, okay. So I think I'm happy with being able to tack this down. I think I will put another little piece of foam tape just along the top edge there. And I'm just going to cut that like so. That'll be good. Okay. And then we'll tack down the bottom. And there's our little teapot. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Okay, there we go. So we got that down. And then my head's been sort of, again, thinking about all these crafts, you know, things that I have to do, not have to do. And that was the whole kind of thing, is that with the things that I do, I seldom feel I have to do it. I often have a burning desire to do it, but it's all about the happiness that it brings me to do something. And I don't really like it covering up that drawer. I think I'm going to put it there. I don't know. It might have been nicer right across there, but it's going to stay there. So that's our project for today. Short and sweet, but I really like how it came out. So we'll stick that back in our journal. So thanks for joining me today. If you did like the video, please give me a like. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd love for you to subscribe. And leave me a comment. So I hope you have a great week. Thanks for joining me, and goodbye for now.